I've watched a few weeks of NXT 2.0 now, and I have some thoughts. There are a few things that I like, but there's a lot wrong with this new NXT. We're going to talk about all that on the show right now. Okay, so it's obvious, right? The days of Triple H's NXT, the black and gold, the black and yellow are over, right? And while original NXT was not perfect, it did shine a light on some amazing stars, fresh talents, as well as indie darlings that we love. But we also now get to experience so many of them over in AEW. Adam Cole, baby. Boom. Then we get this big rebrand. Vince comes in with Bruce Pritchard, John Laurinaitis, and whoever the hell else, and decides we gotta shake things up again. And NXT 2.0 is very much back to grassroots WWE developmental, making brand new stars, very green stars, into hopefully new stars down the road that we can all enjoy. But there's a lot wrong with this product as a whole. Let's get into it. Now, I always like presentation. I'm always big on presentation when it comes to my wrestling product. AEW, for example, I don't always love their overall aesthetics and design of how they deliver the show. Main roster WWE, I just can't get, the shaky cam stuff they've had for years, I'm just kind of over it. I don't love WWE's production elements, the way they shoot things. It's always had a ton of problems for me. But you can feel that there is a sense of quality there. And what they've done with NXT 2.0 is they've tried to take that and shrink it down into this very, very compact size. But it's not hitting for me very well. One thing I'll say I do like is I do like the Tron. I do like the stage design. I like that they have changed it up and they've made it brighter. The color palette, I was kind of curious to see what the heck they were going to do. And now that we've seen it for a few weeks, it does feel like you're watching Raw or SmackDown with that set design. It's just shrunken down a little bit. And I think that helps creative look at new stars, these very, very young athletes, these young superstars coming in, to see how they kind of come across on camera. How would they kind of fit with the aesthetics of main roster if they kind of showed up there? Does it come off well? Do they look really larger than life? Do they look really tiny? Like, how does it all come across? So I do like the way they do the actual stage design. At first, I couldn't figure out what was it about overall NXT 2.0 like that I did that wasn't clicking for me, that something seemed weird. I understand they're going for like kind of more of an oval shape. You got the audience all the way around the actual ring itself. They've brightened everything up, lots of brightness, lots of colors. I do like that we actually go for like a white mat, colorful ropes. That I feel pops. It comes across on your TV set versus traditional NXT, where my problem was that we would dim all the lights down so much. And yes, the good thing is that the focus is on the stars in the ring, but everything being black and gray and yellow, like it just really, really felt dark. And I know that that is what they're trying to go for back then. Now with it being brighter, more colorful, it is more attractive. But there was always one thing that I was like, what is weird about this? And I was like, oh, they don't have a barricade. So they create this open environment, this openness now, where they try to give it a little bit more room. I'm not used to it. I'm not saying that's necessarily like a really bad thing. It's just different, but I don't know if it necessarily works for the audience. Why not have a barricade? Maybe it's because it would shrink things in too much and make the product feel and the show feel even smaller. I didn't like how they were doing the CWC before, where they had the giant plexiglass and everything. You had like a little bit of the audience and then you couldn't see anybody else really. It looked really small. The good here is that it makes it feel a little bit bigger because you can see the audience more. The bad is that I feel like it just creates this weird openness and this gap from the ring side area to the fans. I think you need some type of barricade. Also, you could go with like a white barricade all the way around that is splashy, colorful, like the NXT banner, and you could do something like that. And I hope that they actually do try to improve some of this stuff when it comes to the stage and the designs, because it's very tricky to shoot. And the last thing on the aesthetics piece is that I wish that they would have a little bit more fans crammed in there if they could. Maybe they have maxed the thing out, but I wish that they would have a few more rows of fans or bring a few more closer to the action to fill it in more. I feel like there is too much of a gap, like I said, between the ring, the barricade, and then the fans. There's a lot of floor. I think you could actually add in more fans and bring them even closer to the action. And by doing that, you create more and more focus around the center of the ring. The good thing about NXT 1.0 is that it felt like it had its own identity. This feels like a Kevin Dunn production. We're getting the same type of flow and feel on NXT 2.0, and I understand that it then lines up with the rest of the products, the main roster products, so it all feels and looks the same. But to me, that's like the same idea behind the titles. The WWE title, the SmackDown Women's title, the Raw Women's title, they all look the same. You want more identity. What differentiates them? One brand, one thing from the other. Yes, you want it to all be recognizable under the banner of WWE, but people that are watching TV, watching main roster product, they kind of just default and know that that's WWE. And so over the coming weeks, I'm kind of curious to see what they do from a production side, if Kevin Dunn is really going to be having his hands all over this, and is it going to like really affect the roster and how they go about all of this in terms of timing of matches, and is it really going to feel like a Vince, Bruce Pritchard main roster show? Now let's talk about the roster here. We're getting a mixture right now of NXT 1.0 stars that we know, like Tommaso Ciampa. You've got Johnny Gargano, who did the wedding, but now he hasn't been seen yet. Roderick Strong, Kushida. You've got some elements of NXT 1.0 in there. Then you contrast that with brand new signees, people that have been wrestling for a matter of months. And you have guys that they clearly have some hope that are going to do well, like Braun Breaker. It's a Steiner. Like, he looks and talks like a mix of Rick and Scott Steiner. Not necessarily a bad thing. The guy's got amateur wrestling background. Clearly WWE is high on him. They keep featuring him, giving him promo time, giving him match time. They're putting him in the main event mix. But this mix between NXT originals and this new generation of stars with gimmicky names, to me it doesn't click. It feels right now like I am really watching WWE developmental. And I think for main television, I don't know if that's necessarily what you want. Now, the ratings are proving that for at least this past few weeks of the show just starting off, that they're retaining over 700,000 viewers for the NXT 2.0. I wonder if we will see a slow decline or a quick decline in the ratings once fans really click in and say, yeah, this is just kind of watching some short matches and all of my favorite stars are not there, or I don't see them often enough. I worry that we're going to get what we've experienced so far, which is 3-minute matches, 5-minute matches, tag matches that are just a blend of originals and new NXT guys that get the hot tag, that get the 3 to 5 moves in because that's what they know what to do right now because they're so early in developmental. They've only been able to practice so many times in the Performance Center. They've only been able to practice so many times on TV for these matches. And the hope is obviously that they can go longer over time and that they can develop and become bigger stars. I hope so too. I hope they all do very well because it means better product, better superstars. Everyone wins. I struggle right now when you watch a lot of these talents that they're going to go through so many different iterations of their character until they land on something. And that is part of the problem where you can't totally invest in these new characters, these new stars, because you might think that a Braun Breaker is talented and is really good and go, oh, cool, I really like this guy. But what happens in 6 months if they turn around and they go, he's no longer Braun Breaker, he's just Braun. And you go, we had Braun Strowman. Well, you like the word Braun, don't you, Vince? Well, they call him Braun Steiner. They are going to do stuff like that, I feel, over time because it's WWE. It's Vince McMahon at the helm. Let's say it's a year or 2 years from now, and your Braun Breaker and your Von Wagner are really getting over, and they're good enough to make it to main roster. Main roster's big problem, one of them, at least in my opinion, is that they cannot go through with good creative. They don't really have plans. You have incredible talent like Aleister Black, Malachi Black, Miro, Adam Cole. You have incredible talent, Andrade, and it's floundered, not because they can't get over, they are over. It's that the creative there is not strong enough to support what they want to do. Example being Adam Cole confirming that one of the pitched ideas for him going to Raw or SmackDown was to be a manager because he's a good talker, or they wanted to change his look. That is coming from Adam Cole himself. That's got to be a bummer when you are wrestling and doing this for your profession for like 14 years, 15 years, and they want to move you over finally And it's a big, big decision for you for your career. And you're going to get saddled with a different gimmick. You've built something so much. So I worry about new talent, fresh talent that are not seasoned 14 years like Adam Cole, and what happens when Vince gets bored and doesn't feel that this person is connecting anymore. And ultimately, I think one big factor of NXT 2.0, what's going to be wrong with it, is there's going to be a lack of creative. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of NXT 2.0? What do you feel is wrong with it? What do you feel is working with it? Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'm Matt. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, thank you all for assembling with us. See ya.